March 1945, Tokyo, just after midnight. The night air is strangely calm, almost warm, carrying the faint scent of the bay and the smoke of small cooking fires from neighborhoods below. Paper walls glow softly with lamplight. Wooden houses rest shoulder to shoulder, vulnerable and quiet. Above the city, clouds hang low, reflecting a dull orange haze. Then the sound begins, distant at first, a low, steady hum spreading across the sky. It is not the sharp scream of a dive or the sudden crack of artillery. It is continuous, measured, unavoidable. Oh. The sound grows, and with it, the future changes. For Japanese commanders, this moment represented the collapse of assumptions that had guided the war since its beginning. Japan had entered the conflict believing distance, resolve, and sacrifice could shield the home islands. The vast Pacific was expected to absorb American strength. Cities built largely of wood were never meant to face sustained attack from the air. Bombing, it was believed, would be limited, symbolic, and bearable. The population would endure, leadership would remain unshaken. That belief did not survive 1945. By then, the United States had transformed air warfare into an industrial process. The B-29 Superfortress was its instrument. Massive, long-ranged, and produced in numbers unimaginable only a few years earlier. American factories worked without pause, feeding crews fuel and bombs into a system designed for continuity rather than heroism. The weapon that symbolized this abundance was not subtle. It was fire, incendiaries dropped in vast patterns, turning neighborhoods into fuel. Japanese planners initially expected precision bombing aimed at factories and military targets. Instead, they encountered something more devastating. Firestorms did not discriminate between production and living space. Winds generated by the heat pulled flames inward, feeding themselves. Why? Temperatures rose beyond human tolerance. Streets became corridors of fire. Water boiled in canals. The city itself seemed to ignite. Historical evidence records the scale with brutal clarity. On the night of March 9-10, 1945, more than 300 B-29s dropped incendiaries over Tokyo. An estimated 100,000 civilians died. 1 million were left homeless. Similar raids followed across Osaka, Nagoya, Kobe, and dozens of other cities. Japanese civil defense reports spoke of a total loss of control. Fire brigades ceased to function. Communications collapsed. Commanders watched maps fill with red, knowing there were no resources left to stop what was happening. The emotional contrast was overwhelming. Japanese leadership had expected suffering, but meaningful suffering, hardship that strengthened resolve. What they witnessed instead was annihilation without confrontation. There was no enemy soldier to face, no battle to win or lose. The destruction arrived from above night after night, indifferent to courage or discipline. Commanders wrote of helplessness, of issuing orders that no longer mattered. Diaries recovered after the war described senior officers weeping in silence as reports arrived. City after city erased. The transformation was not only physical, it was ideological. Japan's wartime culture emphasized endurance and sacrifice, yet firestorms rendered sacrifice meaningless. No amount of bravery could stop wind-driven flames. No devotion could rebuild cities faster than they burned. The sound of American engines overhead, steady, recurring, became a symbol of a system that could not be exhausted. Bombers returned again and again, supported by logistics that stretched across oceans. American records reveal the cold efficiency behind the devastation of roach. Target studies analyzed wind patterns and building materials. Bomb loads were adjusted for maximum spread. Crews trained methodically. For them, the war was numbers and tonnage, sorties, and percentages. This contrast, industrial calculation versus human desperation, defined the final phase of the Pacific War. For Japanese commanders, despair took many forms. Some clung to hope that inflicting casualties might force negotiation. Others recognized the truth earlier. The war had become unwinnable. The firestorms represented more than destruction. They represented the triumph of abundance over isolation. The United States could afford to fight without pause. Japan could not afford to defend endlessly.